A very good morning to all of you. In the previous topic, we have started about the human reproductive system, the female human reproductive system. Today, I am going to discuss with you the next topic. In the previous topic, we had discussed about the primary sex organs. And now, I am going to discuss with you the secondary sex organs. So, in the category of secondary sex organs, we are having two types. One is the accessory ducts and another one is the accessory glands. So firstly we will discuss about the accessory ducts. In the accessory duct, the very first organ are the oviducts. Oviducts are also known as fallopian tubes. Have a look on the diagram. These are the fallopian tubes which are also known as the oviduct. Fallopian tubes, they are also known as the oviducts. They are basically 10 to 12 centimeter long. You can see in the diagram they are long in the structure, so about 10 to 12 centimeter long. Then they extend from the ovary to the uterus. They started from the ovary, they extend from the ovary and they move to the uterus. They extend from the ovary, यहाँ से start होते हुए they move to the uterus. So extends from the ovary towards uterus, right? The part of oviduct lying towards the ovary is funnel shaped. वो part oviduct का जो कि ovary की तरफ है, that is in the shape of the funnel. The funnel shaped part of the fallopian tube that extends towards the ovary, जो ovary की तरफ जाता है, that is in the shape of the funnel और उसे हम कहते हैं infundibulum. Funnel shaped part that extends towards the ovary is known as infundibulum. Right? So this one is the infundibulum. Now the funnel shaped part towards the ovary is infundibulum and there are finger like projections. See, here are the finger like projections that are known as fimbriae, where the finger like projections are present. Finger like projections are present and they are known as fimbriae. Infundibulum and fimbriae are the parts. Then the infundibulum leads to the ampulla. ये जो infundibulum है, it moves towards the ampulla. Here it is not mentioned in the figure, I think. So it moves towards the ampulla and then they reach the narrow lumen opening, then to the isthmus. This is the last part of the fallopian tube or oviduct. Then they move to the, here it is ampulla, here it is mentioned. Then they move to the ampulla and to the last narrow part of the fallopian tube, that is the isthmus, and which has a narrow lumen opening. Narrow lumen opening in the uterus, जो कहाँ जाके खुल रहा है, in the uterus. तो ये जो है मैंने आपको बताया oviduct, that is known as the fallopian tubes, 10 to 12 centimeter long होते हैं. They started from the ovary and they move to the uterus. जो funnel shaped part है, that is the infundibulum. उसके ऊपर there are the finger like projections that are known as fimbriae. Then this part is known as the ampulla that moves towards the last narrow opening, that is the isthmus. This is the last part of the fallopian tube and then finally they reach the uterus. So this is all about the oviduct. Now the second part of the accessory duct is known as the uterus. because from the starting of the fallopian tube, the fallopian tube ends at the uterus. So next part of the accessory duct is the uterus. Now what is uterus? Uterus is also called the womb. Normally you heard the word womb in the mother womb or whatever. The uterus in the normal language is known as the womb. It is of the pear shape. It is of pear shaped and is connected to the pelvic walls by the ligament. This uterus is connected to the pelvic walls with the help of these ligaments. Connected to pelvic walls with the help of ligaments. Right? Now uterus wall consists of the 3 layers. The uterus wall, जिसे हम uterine wall भी कहते हैं, the uterus wall or the uterine wall, it consists of the 3 layers. First one is the external perimetrium. Yeah, it's external perimetrium. Have a look on the diagram. Here it is. It's the external perimetrium. This one is the layer external perimetrium. So the external perimetrium is the outer thin membrane covering. The outer thin membrane covering is the external perimetrium. It is just the outer thin membrane covering. Then comes the middle myometrium. Second layer is the middle myometrium. Have a look. Here it is, myometrium. It is a middle layer. This one is the external layer, that is a perimetrium. This one is the middle layer, that is a myometrium. Now what does this middle layer do? This middle layer consists of the thick layers of the smooth muscle fibers. This is made up of, I am writing here, thick, smooth muscle fibers. So this myometrium is made up of thick, smooth muscle fibers that contract strongly during the time of the delivery of a baby. So जो myometrium है ये क्या है? This is basically made up of thick, smooth muscle fibers that helps in the contraction while the delivery of the during the delivery of the baby, and this is this myometrium. The third layer is the internal endometrium. The third one is the internal endometrium. Now this internal endometrium, this is the inner layer. This one is the inner layer that contains, this inner layer is known as endometrium, that contains the glands and the various blood vessels. This is the layer that contains the glands and the various blood vessels. This one is the internal layer of the uterine wall, and this layer undergoes changes during the time of the menstrual cycle. When there is a menstrual cycle in the female body, this endometrium layer, it undergoes many changes. It becomes thick, it becomes thin at the time of the menstrual cycle. So there are lot of changes in this layer of the uterine wall. So in the uterus is the womb, commonly known as womb. It is pear shaped. It is connected to the pelvic wall with the help of the ligaments. It has 3 layers in the uterine wall. There are 3 layers: external perimetrium, middle myometrium, and the internal endometrium. Here is the perimetrium, myometrium, and the internal endometrium that have different functions. Now the next part of the accessory duct is the cervix and the vagina. Now the cervix, this is the third and the last part of the accessory duct, is the cervix and the vagina. Now the cervix connect to the uterus to the vagina. This is the uterus. ये जो है cervix, the cervical canal is shown in the figure. This cervix joins the uterus to the this vagina. So these two parts are united by a common passage that is known as cervix. So cervix connects the uterus. What is cervix? That connects the uterus to vagina, and this cervix has a cavity. The cavity of the cervix or the canal of the cervix is called the cervical canal. The cavity of cervix is called the cervical canal. This cavity of the cervix is called as the cervical canal that forms the birth canal along with the vagina. This is basically the birth canal that is associated with the vagina. So this is all about the accessory ducts of the secondary sex organs. Now I am going to start the next part of this, that is the accessory glands. Okay students, we will do the accessory glands in the next topic. That's all for today. Thank you students.